How's it going? Galore Wrestling Figures here. Welcome to another video. Now, if you're new to the channel, you might not know that I'm a big CM Punk fan. However, if you're subscribed already, you probably already know that. So, of course, being a big CM Punk fan, there's a lot of attires that I would like to see in figure form, and we haven't already got them yet. So, of course, WrestleMania 41, Las Vegas, shaping to be a good WrestleMania. That's coming up soon. Now, of course, whenever we get a WrestleMania, we also get figure reveals. So I thought, why not put together a little video of CM Punk figures that I want to see revealed at WrestleMania, or if not at WrestleMania, maybe at San Diego Comic Con, or maybe just coming up soon, because let's face it, the more CM Punk figures, the better. So, now these aren't in any order, but there is a few, but they're in no order, so I thought, let's just go for it, I suppose. So, the first one I want to talk about, what I do really want to see in figure form, is CM Punk's green attire. Now, the reason why I haven't said a specific date or event for this attire is because he did wear it quite a few times. Now, this figure, if we was to get this in figure form, it would be amazing. Because now, this attire, he did wear it, I think he first wore it in 2008, but of course, all throughout, being in WWE, AEW, he's worn it a few times. He wore it when he had long hair, when he was with the Nexus. Of course, he had that famous, I think it was when he was, I think it was just during the Nexus days, just before he won the belt at Money in the Bank 2011. Of course, he had a promo with Vince McMahon, and I know that look is iconic. He wore it, I think, obviously 2012-ish, and he did wear it, I think, twice in AEW. I think when he faced Ricky Starks and when he faced Penta. So if we was to get this attire, for one, it'd be an amazing figure, but the amount of customs, fix-ups we could do, there'd be a lot. Even if we was to get this in, basic form or elite form, ultimate form, it would be amazing. There'll be a lot of ideas that people will be getting fix-ups. So that's one attire that I want to see. Now, that attire I could make, with decals quite easily, but I don't really like using decals on elites. I do like doing them on AEW figures. Well, for AEW looks, for whether that's be elite parts or AEW parts. But in terms of WWE figures, for the WWE displays to the left and to the right of me and behind me, I don't like using decals. So that's a quick disclaimer. I do like doing fix-ups though, kick pad swaps, head swaps, as long as they're accurate. I like all my figures looking accurate. So the next attire is CM Punk's look from WrestleMania 25. Now, once again, this attire, it's iconic with CM Punk. But more importantly, of course, this is when he won the Money in the Bank briefcase for... Was this the second time or was this the first? I can't remember. Yeah, I think this was the second time. He won a Money in the Bank, well, WrestleMania 24, 25, 26 he faced Rey Mysterio, and then 27 Randy Orton, etc. So this was the second time he won the Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania. And for one, the look is, it's a good look. Of course, he has the long hair, no chest tattoo, but the attire is good. Now, what I like about this is he's worn it a few times, a lot of times. Now, of course, he wore this in AEW. This is the good thing. I think he wore it twice in AEW. I might be mistaken, but I'm very sure he wore it twice in AEW with the kick pads and without the kick pads. Of course, he wore it in WWE a few times, so he even wore it in WWE when he had slick back hair. So, there's definitely a lot of fix-ups and, ideas that, we can do with this. So if we was to get this even in basic form, because I know we did get it in basic form back in the day without the kick pad design, if we could get this in, elite, basic, ultimate form, that would be amazing. That would be, contender or figure of the year, because I think the pink goes really well with the black and white. It mixes really well, and for CM Punk, it goes really well. So the next attire is, this is one where, I've wanted this for a long time, for years, and it is CM Punk's look with his Halloween attire. Now, once again, I ain't got a specific date for this because he did wear it a few times, but he did debut it in 2012, I believe it was. I think it was, well, it was Halloween 2012. And this attire, once again, he did wear this, of course, with the kick pads a few times, but he did wear it a few times without the kick pads. So, you know, he wore it, of course, when he had slick back hair, and then when he had the Wolverine look when he was bald. So there's a few looks for it, with and without the kick pads. Now, Mattel did recently release this sort of as a basic. You know, there's that new 3-pack with The Rock, John Cena, and Punk. I did get one of those. I have got one at the moment. I'm just waiting for Smiths to price drop that, and then I'll get a few more for customs. Now, it's a good figure, but it's meant to be orange, and it's yellow, so that's the main bit. But as an elite, it'd be amazing. Now, I could even maybe, you know, I am thinking about getting that attire, putting an elite torso on, so I might do that. But as an elite, an official elite, I could see this, you know. It's a really good attire. You know, he did wear it a couple of times with different shirts, etc. So I feel like, you know, if we was to get that in figure form, it'd be amazing. Now, this isn't the next thing I'm gonna say isn't a figure, but it's a look. You'll get what I mean. And it is CM Punk's grey Best in the World 2012 shirt. Now, this is probably CM Punk's second most iconic shirt. He wore this so many times in WWE. He even sort of remade it in AEW. And I think since his return to WWE, they might have remade it again slightly different. But I know that they re-released it, you know, on Shop WWE. I do actually have a custom just above me from his AEW look. But this shirt, we need this in figure form. And it's behind me somewhere. We did get this back in the day, I think 2012 it was, as a Walmart basic entrance superstars, whatever they were called. So, you know, they did a few basics where the shirts were printed on. I was looking for that figure for a long time. I managed to get one recently. And I didn't have to pay too much for it. And it is mint. That's the main bit. Finding it mint is hard, but I managed to get that. They did do two. But the one with the grey shirt, it's an amazing figure. So now, if we was to get that as an official shirt, you know, include it with an elite or, you know, maybe with something, I would be happy. And a lot of people, a lot of collectors would be happy because to get that in figure form, you know, it's an amazing, you know, look. You know, you can add this to so many figures and it'd be accurate. Like just behind me now, you could literally add it to the Elite 16 because he wore it with that. He wore it with the yellow pipe bomb look. And so, you know, I think as well he wore it with the blue look behind me, the Elite 20. You know, there's a lot of times where we did wear that attire. So to be able to get that as an official release rather than getting it printed, because don't get me wrong, I love getting custom shirts printed. I've got quite a lot from Elite Threads. Shout out to them. I've got a lot of shirts off them, but one of the only shirts you can't do is that shirt. But even if you could get it printed, just to get things as an official release rather than customs, it is really cool. So that's for that. So a couple more figures I want to see. This one is one that I do see Mattel releasing. You know, all the others I do want them releasing. Will they release? I'm not sure, but this is one I do see them releasing. And it's CM Punk's look from Survivor Series 2011. Or was it 12? I want to say 11. I think it was 11. When he faced Alberto Del Rio, yeah, it was late 2011. I'm 99% sure. My mind's telling me 12, but I'm pretty sure it's not 2011. Now, this look, if you're a CM Punk fan, you'll know this look. It's iconic. We did get it as a basic quite a while ago, but I can definitely see him re-releasing it as the basic. Now, the reason I like this attire is because, of course, he wore this when he beat Alberto Del Rio, and he wore it a few other times, but if anyone's got good memory, John Cena vs CM Punk on the Raw, February 2013. I can't remember the exact date, but it was a Raw. You know, that was an amazing match. You know, you had Punk hitting pile drivers. You had Cena doing Hurricane Ranas. So that was an amazing match. But the attire, if we was to get the Survivor Series look as an elite, it's easy to make. Literally just black kick pads on it. And his shaved down head. And there you go. It's a really good attire and he did wear it a few times. So if we got that as a figure, I would really like that. And, you know, it's one of those attires where I think because of the colours, you know, it doesn't pop as well as, for example, is, you know, pipe bomb attire, but it definitely pops. So that's what I would want to see. Now, this next one is one I see Mattel doing, And, well, it's two. I'm going to mention two because, well, now I'll mention one and then I'll save the other for another upcoming video that I've got because it's a long story. So one figure that I see, well, I'm just going to mention them both because I've mentioned it. One figure I see Mattel releasing, well, two, is CM Punk Elite 16. I see them re-releasing that and the Elite 1. I'm pretty sure, on the last Mattel Creations live stream, they did talk about re-releasing it. And the fact that they're talking about it officially, Mattel sort of pretty much confirms it. But the Elite 16, we did get as an Ultimate, but as an Elite with the, pipe bomb head, double jointed arms, I would like that as an Ultimate. It's easy to make, but don't get me wrong. I love official releases compared to customs. Customs are amazing, but if we can get figures in as an official Elite, you can't go wrong. So now, one more look I want to talk about, and it is CM Punk's attire from Night of Champions 2012. Now, you could even have this as an Ultimate Edition, that would be cool, with the entrance attire, but this attire, of course, it's based off, it's inspired by the New York Yankees. It's a good attire. Now, I believe he wore it once. For some reason, I'm thinking he wore it on the Raw after the show, but I think he just wore it the once. Now, it's an amazing look, but the head scan is what I would like Mattel to have a go at making. We did get that sort of, when he had the shorter hair with sort of the, part beard, whatever you want to call that, sort of handlebar mustache beard. So, Mattel did release that a while ago. It is different to what, his short hair, because, the beard's different. But if Mattel could re-release that, with maybe, because I think before when they released it, it was just plain black hair, nothing, not much detail. But if they could release it with true FX, that would be money. I could definitely see a lot of people buying that. And I just feel like, the attire pops really well. Add a spinner with it. Extra pair of hands, boom, there you go. Elite 122, for example. That would sell. I know for a fact that would sell. And then, have we got time for it? One more figure I want to see. Now, when I want CM Punk figures re-releasing, for me, CM Punk, I've always been a big CM Punk fan, but for me, my favourite era of CM Punk was 2011, 2012-ish, when he started to gain, he was already popular, but he gained a lot more popularity. He changed WWE pretty much forever, you could argue. One attire that he was, so I like getting attires and fix-ups that are based around there. So, to be honest, I don't have too much CM Punk figures when he had long hair. I do have quite a few, but not a lot. So that's why figures that I want to see getting made are more, figures from 2011, 2012. But I would like to see more CM Punk figures with long hair. The last one, it's from 2013, and it is when he faced Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam 2013. Now, when CM Punk's first figure back, basic 150, not the chase, the regular, except if you're in Smiths in the UK, Smiths sort of, there was something up with the distribution, there was more chases and regulars. If we got this figure as an Elite or an Ultimate, that would be a really good figure. Now, of course, we did get it as a basic, but without the design on kick pads, CM Punk's last Raw appearance ever, well, in 2014, that is the Elite 29. I did add a custom shirt to it, so they did re-release the basic. But if we got the kick pad design, maybe a new head scan with the Wolverine look, because the one I've got a lot of figures with a Wolverine head scan. So if we got one maybe with a shouting head scan or a smirk, that would be an amazing figure. They could even add it in like next year's SummerSlam line. And the good thing with CM Punk is a lot of his best attires were worn at the big four pay-per-views, the Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. So if Mattel was smart, rather than just releasing these in normal Elite Series or Greatest Hits, if Mattel was smart, they can release these in, the SummerSlam Elite lines or basic lines, and rather than, like, for example, CM Punk got an Elite in 113 and 115. Now, I know some people were slightly annoyed about that, but if, Mattel released it, sort of shared it out a bit, so, he had an Elite in SummerSlam line, the WrestleMania line, we'd get a lot more CM Punk figures, and there ain't much to complain about, really, then. So, for me, the more CM Punks, the better. That's what I want to see. I just want to see more CM Punks in some of his best ever attires. Now, that was pretty much it. There is a lot more attires, but I just wanted to sort of narrow it down a bit. I probably have dragged this video on a bit, so if you're still watching, thanks for watching. And that pretty much does it for this video. I've been a bit inactive recently, but keep your eyes out. There's going to be some more banger videos coming out soon. And that pretty much covers it for this video. Remember, if you're new to the channel, to subscribe, like, comment, all the usual stuff. And that pretty much covers it. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.